Happy New Year, everyone. We're kicking off the year by diving deep into the world of finance and investing.
Ooh, nice.
Always a good way to start fresh.
Great, sure.
We're going to be looking at clips from this really popular YouTube series.
Oh, yeah.
And see if we can pull out some nuggets of wisdom, about building wealth and that whole idea of financial freedom.
I love it. I think those are goals we can all get behind.
Absolutely.
I've seen a few of the episodes from that show.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to have those hard conversations about money.
They're not.
Which I really appreciate.
Yeah, no, they get into it.
Yeah.
Which is what we're all about here, right?
Absolutely.
Cutting through the noise.
Yeah.
So one of the things that really jumped out at me right off the bat was how they kind of tackle this whole idea of investing being intimidating.
Right.
Especially for those of us who aren't,
Yeah.
Wall Street wizards or anything like that. They make this really compelling case that it's actually a lot simpler than we think.
Okay.
And it's definitely not just a rich person's game.
Yeah. No, I think that's a crucial point, demystifying it, right?
Yeah.
Making it accessible. Because there is that misconception out there that you need,
ton of money to even get started.
Yeah, you need a small fortune just to get in the game.
Right.
And I think that's a huge mental block for a lot of people.
Oh, it is. And they have this really interesting segment on target date funds.
Okay.
Which they present as sort of a gateway drug to investing.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Perfect for beginners.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But what's fascinating to me is it's not just about here's how these funds work.
Right.
It's about the psychology of it.
Yeah.
It's about removing those mental hurdles.
Totally. Yeah. So taking the emotion out of it, right?
Yes.
Which we know that's where people make bad decisions when they get emotional about it.
Yeah, they panic.
Right. Instead of just having that long-term strategy.
Exactly. The host even said, he was like, investing should be boring.
Okay.
Like watching paint dry.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it.
I love that.
You pick a fund.
Yeah.
Based on when you want to retire. Mm-hmm. Set it and forget it.
Right.
Well, maybe don't completely forget about it.
Don't forget about it completely, yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's not like you're constantly checking it every day.
Yeah.
It's about consistency and patience.
Absolutely.
Not chasing those thrills.
It is. And that leads perfectly into, this whole power of compounding.
Yes.
Which they illustrate with this, I love this analogy of a turkey cooking for decades.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Low and slow.
But the end result is?
Amazing.
It really is.
Yeah.
It completely changes your thinking.
It does.
They gave this great example. Say you're 16 years old.
Okay.
And you invest $5,000 a year with a 7% return. By the time you're 50, you have over $736,000.
Wow.
It's like a financial time machine.
Yeah. That's amazing. And it's funny, they also shared the story of Ronald James Reed, a janitor.
I remember this.
Who quietly built an $8 million portfolio over 70 years. Yeah.
It just proves it's not about hitting the lottery or something.
Right.
It's about consistency.
Exactly.
Which kind of shatters the myth that you need the six-figure salary to build real wealth.
It does. But, on the flip side, there are plenty of high earners out there.
Oh, I know, right?
Who just never figure out how to make their money work for them.
I've known a few.
Yeah.
And that's where I think this whole discussion of taxes comes in.
Yes.
And the Diary of a CEO does not shy away from that at all.
Not at all.
They get into it about how wealthy individuals use, strategic tax planning to their advantage. Mm-hmm. And they're not saying don't pay your taxes, but they're saying understand the rules.
Yeah.
One guest even said, if you're trying to build wealth, you have an obligation to pay as little tax as possible.
Oh.
Legally, of course.
Right.
It's interesting how they frame it, right?
It is. It's not just a civic duty. It's about being smart.
Yeah.
And knowing how to manage that burden effectively.
They even dropped some pretty sophisticated strategies, things like borrowing against assets instead of selling to avoid capital gains.
Wow.
Tax-advantaged accounts.
Yeah.
They even talked about residency in low-tax states.
Okay, getting into the weeds.
They did. But I think the takeaway for our listener is it's not just about increasing your income.
Yeah.
It's about strategically shifting some of that income into assets that can grow over time.
Yeah.
Without constantly being chipped away by taxes.
So it's playing the long game, understanding the rules.
Yeah.
Right? Using them to your advantage.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I love it.
Speaking of playing the game, let's talk about how to actually put your money to work.
Yes, let's do it.
One of the most interesting parts of the show was when the host breaks down his personal investment strategy.
Okay.
And this is what I found fascinating.
Yeah.
It's almost identical to yours.
Really?
Yeah, cash, a house, index funds,
Okay.
and then a targeted investment in a specific company,
Interesting.
which happens to be Markel.
Well, I wouldn't say it's that surprising. Great minds think alike, right?
That's right.
But I am curious to hear different perspectives on that whole asset allocation piece.
Well, I think you both, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're both really emphasizing the idea of balance, right?
Yeah.
Short-term liquidity with cash, long-term growth potential with index funds,
Absolutely.
and then maybe a little bit of a calculated risk
Yeah.
with a company you believe in.
I like it.
And then, of course, there's real estate.
Yes.
Now, index funds are great for capturing that broad market growth, but they don't necessarily, blow the market out of the water.
Right.
So people look to alternative investments like real estate for that edge.
They do.
What's your take on owning your primary residence as an investment?
That's interesting. They actually pushed back on that
They did.
a little bit on the show. They said, yeah, your home can appreciate in value, but it's also your home.
It's where you live.
Right. It's where you live. It should serve your lifestyle first and foremost,
Right.
not just your portfolio.
I think that's a really important point.
It is.
They actually suggested that for a lot of people, rental properties might be a more accessible path
Interesting.
to building wealth through real estate
Okay.
rather than, focusing on this luxury primary residence.
That makes sense. Owning rental properties can be a great way to generate that passive income and potentially see appreciation over time. Although, of course, it does come with its own set of challenges.
It does. It does. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
They bring on an expert who makes this argument that historically,
Okay.
home prices, even adjusted for inflation, haven't actually generated these incredible returns that people often associate with real estate.
That's a bold statement.
It is.
But it makes you think, right?
It does. It opens up the conversation to, okay, what else is out there?
Exactly.
What other opportunities are there?
Yeah.
And that leads us to a topic that has been impossible to ignore in recent years.
Let's hear it.
Cryptocurrency and blockchain technology.
Ooh, okay.
This is where the Diary of a CEO leans into that whole idea of finding the best ponds to fish in.
Yes.
The new frontier.
Right. And it's interesting you bring up the analogy of ponds.
Yeah.
Because one of their guests describes blockchain as a database in the sky,
I love that.
which I thought was such a brilliant way to introduce this complex technology to a wider audience.
It is, yeah.
It's a good starting point,
Okay.
but I think we can go a little bit deeper.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think our listeners are probably somewhat familiar with blockchain basics.
Right.
So we can get into the real meat of what makes it so revolutionary.
Exactly. So let's talk about decentralization.
Yes.
The fact that blockchain eliminates the need for those traditional intermediaries. It's like banks.
Like banks.
Yeah.
It's about trust built into the technology itself,
Exactly.
which ties back into that whole fish in the best ponds idea. Crypto, which is, of course, built on blockchain,
Right.
is seen as this new pond teeming with opportunity, right?
Absolutely.
A space where early adopters could potentially see significant returns.
Yeah. It is high risk, high reward for sure. But it's also about more than just the money, right?
It is.
It's about the accessibility, the fractional ownership.
Yeah, anyone can participate, right?
Anyone can participate regardless of your background, your net worth, anything.
I love that.
It's really amazing.
They even touch on the potential of blockchain beyond cryptocurrency,
Oh.
using gaming as an example.
Okay.
Imagine a world where you can truly own your in-game assets.
Wow. Yeah.
Trade them outside the game.
Yeah.
Like build entire economies.
Within these virtual worlds.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And you know what? My company, Third Web,
Yeah.
is actually deeply involved in this space.
No way. That's incredible.
We're seeing a huge surge in developers building blockchain games and applications.
That's amazing. You're right on the cutting edge.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface,
Yeah.
what's possible.
Totally.
They compare owning certain cryptocurrencies, like Ethereum, to owning shares of early Facebook.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's the kind of potential we're talking about.
Yeah, that's a powerful comparison.
It is. It speaks to the idea that we're still very early
Early stages.
in this massive technological shift.
It's exciting.
It is. But let's be real. Investing in crypto is not for the faint of heart.
No, it's volatile. It's complex.
There are risks.
There are risks involved. Absolutely.
But the show does a good job of emphasizing that it's also more accessible than people think. You don't need to be, a tech whiz or a Wall Street insider.
Right.
You can literally start investing in crypto from your phone.
That's incredible how technology has democratized access to the financial market.
Yeah. But as they point out on the show, you got to be aware of security risks, too.
Yes, very important.
They even have a whole segment on hardware wallets.
Okay.
Like the Ledger device, which lets you store your crypto offline.
Wow.
For maximum protection.
So like a digital Fort Knox.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone from like the basics of investing all the way to the wild world of crypto and blockchain.
It's a journey.
It is.
Yeah.
But there's one more crucial element of financial freedom that I think the Diary of a CEO tackles head on.
Okay, let's hear it.
Breaking free from the paycheck to paycheck cycle.
Oof, that's a real one.
It is a real one for so many people, and it can feel like this never-ending trap.
It can, yeah. So how do they address that?
Well, they don't pull any punches.
Okay.
They talk about how this cycle actually benefits corporations, banks, even the government, but it keeps individuals financially vulnerable.
It's true, yeah. It's a systemic issue that we don't talk about enough.
No, we don't. They use this really powerful image, a sinking boat with holes, to illustrate the need to stop the bleeding.
Right. Plug those holes.
Plug the holes.
Get that spending under control.
By cutting back on unnecessary spending.
Makes sense.
I found that so powerful.
Yeah.
Especially thinking back to my early struggles with money.
Oh, for sure.
It's a visual reminder that those small leaks, they can sink the whole ship.
Absolutely.
But it's not just about cutting back, right?
Right. What else do they suggest?
It's about using that freed up time, that mental energy, to build a more secure future.
Oh, okay.
They have some, I'll call it tough love advice for anyone in that danger zone.
Yeah.
No savings, mounting debt, cut back on everything that's not essential.
Okay.
Restaurants, vacations, that daily latte.
Yeah.
Sell anything you don't absolutely need.
Wow.
Downgrade your housing if you have to.
That's big.
I know, it sounds drastic, but
sometimes you need to take those drastic measures.
Yeah, you have to stop the bleeding.
Exactly, to create that breathing room.
To create that space.
To invest in yourself.
Yes.
Learn those new skills. Maybe start that side hustle. Increase that earning potential.
They make this point that breaking free from that paycheck to paycheck cycle, it's not just about having more money.
It's about freedom.
It's about control
over your life,
over your time, over your choices.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's ultimately what financial freedom is all about, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Creating a life where money works for you.
Yes.
Not the other way around.
And I think the Diary of a CEO has given us a pretty fantastic blueprint for how to get there.
I like it. So now the question is,
Yeah.
What are you going to do with this information?
Right. What are you going to do with this knowledge?
You know, as we kind of dig deeper into these concepts of, you know, wealth building and financial freedom, one thing that really struck me from the Diary of a CEO was the emphasis on mindset.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about the mechanics of investing or budgeting.
Right.
It's really about, you know, cultivating a certain way of thinking.
It's funny you should mention that, because one quote that really stuck with me was, your mindset is the foundation of your financial success.
Oh, I like that, yeah.
And they were talking about shifting from a scarcity mindset, where you're constantly worried about not having enough, to an abundance mindset where you believe in your ability to create wealth.
That's such a powerful shift.
It is, right.
And it ties into, I think, that idea of delayed gratification.
Yes.
Which is another big theme they touch on.
Yeah.
You know, being willing to make those short-term sacrifices for those long-term gains.
You know, I'll admit that's something I definitely struggled with in my younger years. The allure of instant gratification.
Oh, it's strong.
It's strong, especially, you know, in today's world.
It is, yeah.
Where everything is instant. But watching the Diary of a CEO, it made me realize that building wealth requires patience, discipline, willingness to play the long game.
Absolutely. Instead of buying that fancy car or the latest gadget, you know?
Right.
What if you invested that money in something that will generate income or appreciate over time? It's about shifting that focus from accumulating those liabilities to building assets.
And it's not just about what you do with your money.
Right.
It's about, you know, who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, that's huge.
The show had a whole segment on the importance of your network. People who support your goals, who inspire you.
Yeah. Yeah. You know that saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Oh, yeah.
That absolutely applies to your finances, too.
It really does.
Surround yourself with people who are financially savvy, who are ambitious, driven, and who will, challenge you to level up.
It's like finding your financial mentors.
Exactly.
People who've already achieved what you're striving for.
Mentorship is so invaluable on this journey.
Yeah.
And, we can't forget about continuous learning.
Right.
The financial world is constantly evolving. There's always new strategies, new technologies.
Oh, yeah.
New opportunities.
It really is a lifelong pursuit.
It is, yeah.
Staying curious, seeking out knowledge, adapting to change.
Absolutely.
They really encourage viewers to read books.
Yeah.
Listen to podcasts.
Like this one.
Like this one.
There you go.
Attend seminars, connect with experts.
Yeah, be proactive.
Yes.
Invest in your financial literacy.
So you can make informed decisions and navigate, this complex world.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's not just about acquiring the knowledge.
Right.
It's about applying it, experimenting, finding what works for you.
Exactly.
You really hammered home this point that financial freedom isn't a one-size-fits-all formula.
No, definitely not.
It's about finding your path.
Yeah.
Aligned with your values, your risk tolerance, your vision for the future.
Love it. And another great takeaway from the Diary of a CEO is it's okay to make mistakes.
Yes.
Along the way.
They did a really good job of normalizing failure.
They did.
It's part of the process.
Their guests were very open about their own setbacks,
Oh, yeah. They shared their stories.
and what they learned from them.
It's a good reminder that, even the most successful people stumble from time to time.
Yeah.
What matters is you don't let those setbacks completely derail you.
Right. You got to have that long-term perspective.
Yeah.
You can't get discouraged by those short-term fluctuations.
Focus on the big picture.
Yeah.
Stay committed. Trust the process.
Absolutely. But, while it's important to acknowledge those challenges, it's equally important to celebrate the wins.
Wow.
No matter how small.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Set those milestones, track your progress, reward yourself.
Yes.
Makes the journey more enjoyable.
It does. Keeps that motivation high.
Keeps you going.
And ultimately, it's about recognizing that financial freedom is not just about the money.
No, it's about so much more.
It's about having the resources, the flexibility to live a life of purpose, of meaning.
They really hit on that,
They did.
It's about freedom to pursue those passions.
Yeah.
To spend time with loved ones, to give back to your community,
Yeah, make a positive impact.
Make a difference.
It's about living a life of abundance and fulfillment, wouldn't you say?
I would, yeah.
Both financially and emotionally.
Absolutely.
And, it's about using that wealth wisely, ethically, sustainably.
Right. It's about creating a better future, not just for yourself, but for future generations.
The legacy, right?
Yeah. Now, that's a legacy worth building.
So we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From the mindset, the discipline, the power of learning, mentorship, celebrating those wins, embracing those setbacks, having that long-term vision.
I think the biggest takeaway is that financial freedom is about so much more than just money.
It really is.
It's about designing a life that aligns with your values, your goals, where money is a tool to empower you.
Yes.
Not a source of stress or limitation.
And the Diary of a CEO has given us such a clear roadmap.
It has,
for how to get there. But now the question is, what are you going to do with it?
It all comes down to action, right?
It does. It does.
How are you going to apply these insights?
Yeah, to your life, to your own financial goals, to your journey.
It's your journey.
Remember, this is just the beginning. The real work starts now.
It does. It's time to take action.
Yes.
Make those conscious choices. Create the financial future you deserve.
And don't be afraid to reach out for support.
Oh, yeah. There are so many resources out there.
There are.
Books, podcasts, financial advisors.
Mentors.
Mentors, exactly.
And of course, we're always here to support you as well.
We are.
We believe in your ability to achieve financial freedom.
We do.
We're excited to see what you create.
So go out there, take action, build that life of your dreams.
Yes.
And, stay curious.
Yeah.
Stay informed.
Stay inspired.
Now, before we wrap up this whole deep dive into financial freedom, there's one more thing I think is worth exploring from the Diary of a CEO.
All right, I'm intrigued. What else did they bring up?
Well, throughout the series, they touch on this idea that financial freedom can actually make you more generous.
Oh, interesting.
More compassionate. It's kind of counterintuitive, right?
It is. You would think that someone who's achieve that level of success
Yeah.
would be more likely to, hold on tightly to their wealth.
Right, exactly.
But they argue it's the opposite.
Yeah, when you're not constantly worried about your own financial security,
Right.
it frees you up
Yeah.
to focus on the needs of others.
It's like it unlocks this new level of empathy and generosity.
Yeah, you're not just building wealth for yourself.
Right.
You're building it so you can have a greater positive impact.
And that leads to this idea of sustainable wealth creation, right?
Yes, it's not just about accumulating as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's about building a legacy
Yeah.
that extends beyond yourself.
That benefits your family,
Yeah.
the community.
Future generations.
It's about using your wealth to create like a ripple effect
Exactly.
of positive change.
Leaving the world a better place.
As we wrap up this deep dive into finance and wealth creation, I'm really struck by how interconnected these concepts are.
They are.
It's not just about investing or saving or even earning more.
Right.
It's really about a shift in how we think about and interact with money.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating that conscious relationship with money.
Yeah.
Understanding its power and using it as a tool to create the life we want.
Yeah.
The impact we desire.
And I think The Diary of a CEO did a fantastic job of challenging those, often negative narratives around wealth.
Yeah.
They make a really strong case that financial freedom,
Yeah.
it's not something to be ashamed of.
It's not.
It's something to aspire to,
Absolutely.
not just for personal gain,
Right.
but for the good that it allows us to do.
And it's something that's within everyone's reach.
It is.
It might seem daunting at first, but
Right.
every journey begins with a single step.
So for anyone listening who's feeling overwhelmed or intimidated by this whole idea,
Yeah.
remember, start small, stay consistent, and never stop learning.
Embrace the challenges, celebrate the wins.
Yes.
And never lose sight of your why.
Because when you are aligned with your purpose and you're committed to those goals, anything is possible.
We believe in you.
We can't wait to see you thrive.
We can't.
That's all for this deep dive into financial freedom. We'll be back next time
Yes.
with another fascinating exploration
All right.
of a topic that's sure to inspire and empower you.
Until then,
Yeah.
keep learning, keep growing, keep building that life of your dreams.
Yes. And remember, financial freedom is not just about the destination.
It's about the journey.
It's about the journey. Enjoy the ride, everybody. Choro.